So, fam, I just come to the realization that I am a conservative, and I don't like to look at it from a talking point perspective. I know a lot of times you put people in the box when they say they're conservative. Also, you can tell that I am a black man all day, every day. So one of the things I saw on YouTube, I saw like someone had a question about going to a Trump rally. So I said, hey, let me watch this, man. 'Cause, being the fact that I am a conservative black man, I don't lean left or right when it comes to politics. I lean on what is righteous on politics. That's what I lean on. So I said, let me view this video and observe it, see what's going on here in this Trump rally. See if there's anything that I need to watch out for. That's if I ever decide to go to one.
Extreme socialism, obviously, we'll all agree, communism doesn't work.
Yeah.
But extreme capitalism, as we're seeing right now,
Does not
with
work.
this corporate capitalism, also has its problems.
How much money is too much money for one person?
It's a tough call. I know when they have these billions, you're like, well, they really don't need it. Yeah, we agree with that.
Why Trump instead of Bernie Sanders?
What I look at is more progressives like the Bernie Sanders faction, stuff like that. We actually see a lot of the same problems.
I would vote for a Bernie Sanders before I'd vote for like a Ted Cruz or a Marco Rubio.
What would it have taken for you guys to not go into the rally and to instead get ice cream with me, a flaming leftist?
Well, first of all, you'd
I'd
have
be
to
happy.
buy.
All right, I'm buying. We are polarized. There is no doubt about it. But I came to this Trump rally on a hunch. I've poured drinks at a Rust Belt dive bar for the last year, and when your county votes for Trump and the bartender looks like I do, people kind of assume that you're on the same page. But sometimes you actually are. So here's my hunch. For all the focus on culture war issues, the working class on the left and the right have a lot more in common than we're led to believe. And if that's true, it could and should have huge implications for the upcoming presidential election. So I went to Erie, Pennsylvania to find out. Are we rolling? Okay. We're here at the Trump rally today. Why did you come out today?
To support my 45th president.
Okay.
He didn't lose. He called out the Washington establishment, and I absolutely loved it. You know, he's definitely not a Republican because Mitch McConnell and them would be backing him, and DeSantis would be running against him. Obviously not a Democrat no more. So we're more of a politically homeless faction that loves America and will make all the changes that we can to make it great. Prices are just higher. Like you go to the grocery store, I buy the same thing every time I go to the grocery store. I spend $102 at Aldi's. I was just telling my uncle this. I'm spending over $200 now. So things are more expensive. I think people are more scared.
Our money doesn't have no value, and that's why we're having problems. This whole inflation thing, it's been building and building for multi-decades, and it's getting close now.
You work at McDonald's, right?
I do.
Do you feel like you're getting everything out of work that you're putting into it?
I believe I should get paid more. All I am doing is I'm working my ass off to get my money. I'm a hard worker, and I feel like I deserve more. I work down in West Virginia.
Yes.
On the rigs for Evil Big Red, Halliburton.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Halliburton, we were 2 weeks on, 1 week off, so you never got to go home. We were the lowest paid of all the workers out there. I only made $13.50 when I got hired on.
For Halliburton.
For Halliburton, yep. Probably wouldn't even have an Iraq war if it wouldn't have been for the Halliburton and Cheney and stuff. We were expendable. That's all it was. Halliburton, Big Red, they called it. You're just part of the machine, and the machine can be replaced.
As expendable as, people who went over to fight a rich person's war in Iraq.
Yep, pretty much.
5 years ago, I came to the realization that I've been hoodwinked. I have zero respect for Dick Cheney. I have zero respect for George Bush.
What did it?
That must use a Malcolm X pun, didn't he?
It was a lie.
And this might
they
sound
lied
stupid.
about the Iraq war. There were, we got. There was no reason for
get in
us
that
to
war.
go into war in Iraq other than the military-industrial complex
It's just conspiracy
wanted
theory
a
too,
war.
but
The global corporations, do they have, the Goldilocks question: too much, just enough, or too little power? Where would
I
you
feel like
place
their
it?
only thought is more money,
Right.
more power. That's all you care. Whoever has the most money.
Obviously,
So,
it's too much.
Yep.
When
So-
you have a company like BlackRock that's worth $9 trillion,
And Vanguard's what?
Vanguard's $8
Yep.
trillion. Obviously, I'm not going to argue. There's a problem with that.
Do you think the finance sector
Yeah.
Does it have too much power, just the right amount of power, not enough power?
Way too much power.
The financial sector.
100%. Yes. These people really, a lot of these people, they don't realize are unelected officials. So all these politicians have this plan for how they're going to fix the economy, but then they just get in there, they don't do anything, and they're funded by the people, and those people are not elected, and they control the people that are elected.
What role do you think, you know, the consolidation of these large corporations? You know, I came from an agricultural background, and now it'll be 3 or 4 companies that control the entire market for chicken, for eggs, for beef.
That shouldn't happen.
Yeah. The working class has gotten beaten up because of the loss of small businesses. And my question would be, well, I would say, well, why aren't they here anymore?
As a small business owner, I feel like we aren't represented that much in America.
Do you see a problem with that kind of operation?
Oh, 100%.
When it's constant?
Because the big guys are beating out the small guys or even the family-owned businesses, you know, easily.
A lot of that's driven by these really large corporations that are, you know, just by their size, pushing the little guy out.
Yes.
How big of a problem do you think that is?
That's an ultimate problem. That reminds you of watching them Westerns movies when they would go to some small town and the one guy owns the owns the bar, he owns the tack place, he owns that. Yes. There's so many houses for sale in our neighborhood. I was going to go to town and say, are these all, you know, can we find out, are these just real people buying them? Or is this like proxies? See, BlackRock proxies, Vanguard proxies. Are they buying all these homes so people can't own them and they're just going to rent them?
Would you be excited if Trump did anything to rein in?
Well, of course. It's just...
it's a monopoly that needs to be broken up. Just like, remember the telephone company in the 80s, AT&T, that was broken up.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be done.
Capitalism's not the problem. It's been corrupted to such a level, just like people think all the politicians are corrupted. But it's corrupted at the highest levels of these corporations, like you said, being owned. Instead of 200 of them, you're down to 4. Yeah. That's massive control.
You think somebody like Trump with the billions and the business, I mean, we're talking about really large monopolies here. He's more in their peer group.
Yeah, I agree. You're right, right.
He has a financial interest to do that kind of policy.
I always even...
Now he said something that's true. Trump he's a businessman, and capitalism, and he said that capitalism is not the problem. Let me tell you something. Anytime you can capitalize on something, cheating is going to be part of it. That's just point blank, period. That's just human nature. If you can win and you have to cheat, you will cheat. I mean, that's human nature, no matter who's put in this predicament. So corruption is part of capitalism. That's call a dog a dog.
Consider Trump even like a crony capitalist. He's not perfect. You know what I mean? He was a capitalist guy, you know, and you know, everybody always read where he would eminent domain against take the lady, kick her out of her house for all that stuff. Yeah, that's falls into that. Like I said, I don't know, you know. I come to a Trump rally. Doesn't mean I think he's the greatest guy.
Can you really trust a billionaire? Help me understand why that's a thing for you.
Yeah, so with billionaires, I would say honestly, no, you can't. I'll say with Trump, when he debated Hillary Clinton in 2016, she said all these things about the tax laws, all this, and Trump said, where have you been for 30 years? You know, you haven't done anything about it. And then he said, I know you're not going to do it because all your donors who fund your campaign benefit from the same tax breaks and tax laws I do. Right. So whether it's left or right, these people, they're not really going to change the tax laws from the donors that are funding their campaign.
So fam, what it sounds like to me is this. This is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like, you ever seen this movie? It's called The Honest Thief. It sounds like Trump is a honest thief. And I'm not saying he's stealing something. What he's saying is he's sharing with you all, hey, I do capitalize off this. And this is part of the law that I am able to do. So I'm not going to lie to the American people that I hadn't done it like some of the leftists do. But be honest, do we like it? Do we like it? That's what I want to say.
The power is so strong that these people have built up that, yeah, and I don't have answers, and because I know that's what you want. You want to hear what can we do. I just don't think politics is going to do it. Just getting in like civil war thing is just who wants to do that kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
I'm kind of in the same place. I don't have the answers. Will politics do it? If politics doesn't do it, what else will? I look out at a couple 100,000 workers at UPS recently.
Yes. Did they vote on it yet?
So they haven't voted on it yet.
I heard about that.
It was negotiated, and there was, threat of the strike. They were really organized. They won $30 billion over the term of that contract, by being organized. So I look at something like that and say, if this is about control and about working class people having a seat at the table at a company as big as UPS, we just saw their unity win $30 billion worth of, cash in the pocket. Does that sit well with folks?
So nonviolent direct action does work. We've been hearing all about the boycotts. You just mentioned 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. You don't want to mess with that.
This contract was $30 billion. That was from workers standing together. Didn't have anything to do with government. Is that something you guys support?
Sure.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. Wow.
So if my coworkers wanted to make more, and since I want to make more, I'll probably organize something that could help make us more, like maybe a petition.
Yeah, right. Or union activity.
Yes.
A lot of that. Yeah. And would you be really excited by Trump coming out and supporting workers who are doing that?
Yes.
Seeing Trump on a picket line?
Yes.
Yeah. Hot button issues. You can't get away from them. You never hear about UPS.
Not today. No, honestly, I didn't know that. So you told me.
Why do you think that is?
Well, they just made a big move doing that too.
Because who's running the show? Listen, we lost our republic decades ago. We're living in an oligarchy. So they're the ones calling the shots because that's where the money's come from. The media, everybody.
You'll see things like the board or whatever they put on, the TV. You'll have
trying to divide people.
Yes.
A lot of the stories are trying to divide
exactly
people.
Divide, keep them off the ball.
We're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah, it's weird that it's that. They want. I feel like this is all for distraction, to be honest.
Yeah,
they want us to argue.
It is. That's
they want us to argue.
Facade of
yes.
Or there's two sides when in reality there hasn't been two sides since the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
These are just the conversations that we had at one Trump rally, but you saw it. It did not take long to find people who agree that politicians should reject the money from billionaires, should break up massive corporate monopolies, end forever wars, and join workers on the picket line. And you would never know that if you just watched Fox or CNN.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try a thought experiment. What would it look like if for this one presidential election, we had conversations like these that focused on the working class, what they demand, what they need, what they deserve? What would the debates be about? What would the candidates' platforms be like? Who would ultimately win, and how would they be forced to deliver? Thanks for watching our video.
Fam, let me say this off the rip. That was a great video. It was a great video. And I do agree that sometimes we are traumatized by the news outlet. They just tell us what we should be thinking. They'll give us a talking point here, a talking point there, and then we are on somebody else's agenda. Now, understand something. These news outlets on both sides, the left and the right, is set up to be used against us. That's the reason why they're there. All that money that's been pumped out is so you can think a certain way. And they don't want you thinking for yourself. Like I said in the beginning, I am a conservative black man. But see, if you start thinking the way they have taken the word and then they redefine the word and say, okay, if you're a conservative, then you must be a Republican and you must stand by all the talking points. Fam, don't think that way. Everybody wants to have a better way of life. That's point blank, period. Who wouldn't want a better life? We all do. The problem with it is that sometimes when we hear from one side or the other side, they're only going to paint the picture as they're the do-gooders. They're the ones that do the best for the whole group. And truth be told, I just listened to a song by Brother Anthony, the rich man north of Richmond. Yes, they all are rich north of Richmond. This is Washington, D.C. They have more millionaires in the Senate and the Congress than any other place in one city. They trying to, yes, get us to be divided and go against each other. The problem is that when we say divided, it's saying that you think one way and I think another way. But we have to understand, this is the reason why I started this channel. Sometimes we have to agree and sometimes we disagree, but what is the best for the whole? And I think the best for the whole would be in ways to where we improve those people who are, let's say, the workers. Not someone who's not working. Don't get me, I don't believe in no free lunches unless you're supporting children. I do believe in that. There are ways that we should support children. But a man, your ass need to work straight up. That's just me. Now, if you got a disability, we can go into that. But I'm talking about you are capable and able to work. I think you should. And I think that's one of the things that we get caught up into. We get caught up into the other people are not working. I don't believe that. I believe they are working. But the rich man understands how to monopolize the conversation because they have what is called social media platforms that they own. Bump us on here talking. They own it. They can open up gates, shut down gates. They can put certain things in your face every day, every night of the day. And they're going to give you the boogeyman that you should be afraid of. Now, they're going to keep listening till you get to one thing that you are really hooked on, and you're going to vote for that because you're afraid. Y'all, we should have these conversations. We should have these conversations and stop throwing out these doggone talking points that you done got from either side. If you're working hard and you're not getting enough, let me tell you something. You should have a way to be able to strategize and negotiate your forms of payment. There's nothing wrong with that. People do it all the time. Simply because you're not a famous basketball player, football player, baseball player doesn't mean you shouldn't have the opportunity to negotiate how much you should get paid. Okay, yeah, you do something like put a door on the car. Hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You should get paid. They should not be paying you peanuts and sending it somewhere else. But I understand they're gonna do that because why? Because they have the capital to do it. They have the way of taking advantage of the situation. And here we are voting for one person to believe they're going to do everything, and they don't even have all the money. They don't even print money. Donald Trump, y'all, does not print money. That's what it said in the video. He does not print money. And whoever prints the money and whoever the American people owe ain't running for nothing. They don't have to because they own it. So what we need to do, like the guy said in the Trump rally, hey, we need to come together and say, how do we benefit? I'm gonna tell you something. One of the greatest strategists in our history, and a lot of people don't accept him as being it, is Fred Hammond. Black Power. He's a Black Panther leader. He was like 21. He was assassinated, but at his time of his assassination, he said, white power to white people, black power to black people. And what he was saying is, hey, we all struggling from the idea that we have some other people capitalizing off of us. And it's not a white thing, it's not a black thing. It's a rich and poor thing. And we need to understand that if we don't come together, fam, we are going to continue to be divided and the rich will continue to be richer. And I ain't talking about you have a couple of $1 million. Hey, the new millionaire is a billionaire now. That's where it's at. And if you want to run things, you need to be in the billions. And if I'm not mistaken, even doggone Kanye West is saying he's having problems because he needs the T on his name now. It's a trillion now. It's a trillion now. So I really shout out to the brother who went out here to this Trump rally and had the opportunity to talk to people. And I'm pretty sure that this is a small piece of who was there. I ain't talking about the radical. I'm not talking about the radical right or the radical left. He said he's a flaming leftist. He wasn't. Because there's some out there that I'm telling you something, man, that they, instead of being wrong, they go all the way. It's the other side can never speak any truth. And I don't like that. Sometimes the left does speak truth. Sometimes the right speak truth. But sometimes the left speaking that crazy junk, and sometimes the right speak that crazy junk too. And it's for us to filter it out, what's best to society, for the normal people, everyday people that I pass every day going to work, putting in that work, grinding, trying to make it, trying to make ends meet for their family, trying to take care of their kids, trying to have a home that they can inherit it off to their family. You know? That's the people who we should be thinking about. But we paralyzed, man, because we think that the other people north of Richmond has our best interest at heart. Fam, what you think about what my man said? I might have to go to a Trump rally. Shoot, and just talk and mingle. You know? What's your thoughts?